Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Marvel-ous Movie Mondays. I'm in the midst of so much hectic New York Film Fest hullabaloo and Halloween watching, as is Kelsey with the Halloween watching. So my setup is not quite pristine. My desk, we're getting a new desk, so I don't have anything. I just have a little mic stand right now, so I have nothing to like rest my arms on, and I don't have a ring light right now, so I'm just relying on the natural lighting right now. So I'm doing my best, but Kelsey's doing much better than I am. So Kelsey, how are you? I don't even have my hat today. I'm riding naked. I feel naked. It's whatever. But
You're good, Dill. I'm also relying on the natural light. My ring light is set up for my 31 Frights of
I was
Halloween
gonna say
in
my
my
ring light.
basement.
Yes, my ring light is set up for my TikToks for my 31 Days of Halloween in my room because I've been using the blue
Yeah.
background for that. And I was like, you know what? It's either I lug the ring light all the way in here and take 15 minutes of our precious time, or I get it done the way nature intended it by the natural sunlight. And if you're listening on
Exactly.
podcasts, none of this matters to you. So that's great. Kel-
Exactly.
Kels, let's get right into it. What was the best thing you watched this week,
Um,
if
I
any?
was
Because you've been
uh,
watching some duds on your TikTok I've seen.
yeah. Um, I enjoyed I think the best thing so far has honestly been Insidious Chapter 2. I
Mm,
think that has been the best out of the 31 Frights. This year, I anticipated on being a little rough just because sequels and remakes are really
yeah,
hard to land.
absolutely.
Um, but I was, I'm sticking to my theme. I'm committing to this bit,
Good.
and we're just gonna see if it gets any better from here on out.
Yeah. I think it's. I'm not going to talk about any of the film fest stuff I've seen because I'm going to be doing videos for those, and you can all hear my
Yeah.
reactions on TikTok. And I'm also not going to be talking about the horror stuff I've seen because that's also going to be on TikTok. I'm going to talk about a movie that I just fit in. So sometimes with the film fest, you have like 4 hours to spare, and the good thing about New York is there's a movie theater on like every block. So I was like, all right, let's see what's playing. And I actually didn't realize it already came out. It's called A Different Man with Sebastian Stan. It was really good. Like I was going into it, I
Yeah.
was like, all right, I like Sebastian Stan. Like it's supposed to be up for like makeup at the Oscars potentially. So like I'll go check it out. It looks interesting. And I was really blown away. I don't know if you know the story, but it's about a man who has like a disfigured face. He has like all these
Mhm.
tumors on his face. It's almost like an elephant man situation. Um, and he basically gets this like procedure to have it removed and he becomes a different man. He's then Sebastian Stan. He was Sebastian
Mhm.
Stan with makeup, but now he's just Sebastian Stan as we know him. And you see how
Yeah.
like at first he's like loving the attention of like being beautiful, but then he realizes when a super huge acting opportunity comes up, that he actually ends up losing a role to someone who is actually disfigured. And you start to see how
Mm.
like it almost kind of festers this jealousy in him. It becomes like an all about Eve thing. But like the guy who actually has tumors is like a really nice guy, so it's really hard to. And Sebastian Stan kind of like goes crazy. It's really good. Like it's really
Yeah.
surprising. It found ways to surprise me. The ending, it like tacks on two extra epilogues that I don't think it needed, but otherwise, like really good
Okay.
movie. So you should check this one out, Kels. I think you especially would love it, especially because you love Sebastian Stan. But
Yeah.
I just think it's so important, like to talk about beauty standards and like what is beautiful, and that it is all here, not here. And that's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
the
yeah.
movie says, but in a really interesting, kind of funny, kind of thriller-esque way. So
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that yesterday, like between two New York Film Fest screenings, and I was like, I have time to spare. I'll go see this like 2 hour A24 drama with Sebastian Stan. I was blown away. So that rarely happens where I just blindly just go into something on a whim and love it so much. Usually I'm like, I'm gonna go to the movies like Friday night and see Joker, or which sucked, but
Mm.
like it's really
Bummer.
cool to just be like, this is playing. Okay, I'll watch it. Like rarely we see that nowadays, where you just go to the theater and see like, oh, what's playing right now that I haven't seen. That rarely happens. So I was very excited for that. Have you
Wow.
heard about this movie?
I watched the trailer for it, and
Cool.
I remember seeing and I think there I don't know, some people were seeing had taken pictures of like Sebastian Stan while he was like on set for this, and it was like, oh,
Mhm.
Sebastian Stan starring with like this guy in this movie. And it's that was like months and months and months ago. But now I've been seeing like I watched the trailer and I've been seeing him doing interviews with I
With
think his name
the
is
other actor,
Adam Pearson.
Adam Pearson. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he's
Yeah, the other
actually
actor in the
disfigured.
film.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
No, I didn't think that he was like,
Just putting on
keeping
makeup.
the costume on for the interviews. I figured, that was
Okay,
him.
yeah, you're right, you're right. Yeah, that was a bozo comment for me.
Good. I did this last week and I'm doing it again, but I've once again lied about the best thing that I watched. I really need to like write this down before we hit record.
You know, there's an app for that. It's called Letterboxd.
Yeah,
You can just look, you can just
even
look.
I know, I know. The best thing
I'm
I
kidding.
watched was The First Omen, which
Oh,
came out
cool.
this
Yeah, yeah,
year.
yeah. Okay, cool.
That was really good. That's been the strongest thing that I've watched for the 31 Frights of Halloween. It was just
Nice.
really well done and a really like a story that I feel like really stuck the landing in terms of how prequels go. It was just one of those films that I'm like, it didn't need to be the full 2 hours, but
Right.
it's all right. I'll forgive
Cool.
it.
Yeah, and women directed, so that's a big bonus.
Love
Um,
it.
I do need to just say, this is not film, but the best thing I think a lot of our families and we have watched also is this Yankees postseason. Yankees won their
Ooh.
first big game in the postseason. It was
Mhm.
tight. It was tight.
They kept
That is
going back and forth.
because everyone's asking, they're like, "Why are you growing out your beard?" I'm rallying. It's like a rally beard, like they do it for hockey too. I will not shave until the Yankees either lose or they win. So
Yeah.
that is kind of like I feel like it's a superstitious thing, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
hoping it continues tonight as we speak. But they're up one game to the Royals, should be no problem. But we'll see. Knock on wood. Um,
Yeah, we'll
Kels,
see.
we gotta get into Agatha though because we have two episodes. It was
Yes,
Agatha
we
all
do.
along. And you know, I'm in a similar boat to where I was the first week we did it, where like episode one. The first of these two, like I was like, it was fine, and then the second one is where I'm like, oh, okay. So I think
Yeah.
like that, it's gonna make for a fun discussion. But what do you think of these next two episodes, Kels?
I am really, really enjoying this still. I feel like where I'm at, exactly where I was with WandaVision, where I'm just like waiting and like with bated breath every week
Hmm.
for what's gonna happen next. Like
Yeah.
I'm really excited that we got to watch these like back to back and that we're talking about them all together because if we
Yeah.
were doing this like, as we normally do week by week, it's just how our schedule turned out. We're doing these two episodes together. I would be gooped and gagged on the floor like oh my god, what's gonna happen next, because we do get a major death at the end of episode 3, which is
Yeah, which
so upsetting.
I sadly did have spoiled for me just on TikTok.
Damn.
But I was like, it's Marvel and it's a witch-based project, so I wouldn't be surprised if episode 4 she just like comes back into life. So I was holding
Sure.
I was holding
Yeah.
my judgments and reservations. But yeah, honestly, I think the thing I didn't love about episode 3 was I think it was a little too much forced Mrs. Hart humor. Like I thought it was perfect for
Mm,
episode 2, but as episode 3 was going along, I'm like, all right, this is becoming a lot. But then when she
yeah.
died, I was like, oh, this sucks, like
Yeah.
I do like Deborah Jo Rupp and I like her in this role, but I do think it was a fun just way to like have a little bit of humor as we're getting this exposition done in episode 2, but then understanding to go forward, we want to start getting more serious again. Let's part ways with the comedic relief because these witches also have a lot of comedic relief as is. Like Patty LuPone is kind of now fit into the comedic relief territory a little bit, even if she's got
Yeah.
a still a gravitas to her. So
Yeah.
pour one out for Mrs. Hart, what's her real name? Sharon. Or
Sharon
Sheila.
Davis.
Sharon, yeah. So I don't know where I got
Sheila.
Sheila. I knew it started with an SH. And I can't think of a third name. Maybe like Shathid. I don't know.
Shannon.
Shannon, there you go. Sharon.
Shathid?
I don't know. Um,
Like
like
anyway.
it's a classic like substitute teacher sees the name
Yeah, it's
Shathid.
at the Key
It
and
probably,
Keenan.
yeah. Key and
Key and
Peele,
Peele
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, where they see Shathid written down, they say shithead, yeah.
Um
But yeah, Kels, take us in episode 3. Well, let's talk
So
about
let's start from the beginning, episode 3, through many miles of tricks and trials. So the trials, these aforementioned trials that we've been waiting for on this road are starting this episode. So as they're starting their quest, Sharon Davis is like really apprehensive about just like wandering the woods with these group of women. She's accusing them of kidnapping this teenage boy. She
Mhm.
wants to call the police. So she goes off on her own and they kind of lose track of her for a second. Um, while talking about the teen, Jen, the potions witch, does suggest that they call his parents. They're like, who does this kid belong to? Like, we need to call his parents. And he says something really interesting. He says, like, oh, they're definitely asleep right now. But then he makes a comment like, "Oh, no, I'm 100% sure that they're absolutely asleep right now." But or do you think that this is just like perpetual night, just like for the
Mm.
vibe? Because he's not really sure like what time it is. And it's just like we've been getting like a little glimpses into who his character might be. Um, so I've been picking up all the breadcrumbs that he's leaving me.
You still like my theory, or are we more into my theory or more against my theory?
I I like your theory, Dill, because I feel like there's another theory that especially comes up in episode 4, and I feel like if it's the way that that theory is going to go, I'm going to be slightly disappointed because it feels too obvious, where yours feels like, the more impactful choice.
Right.
But then I'm also on theory number 3 as well, which is that he's just someone we haven't met yet entirely.
Yeah, it's like well, I don't want to spoil that for you, but like last Jedi thing of like, oh, who's her grandfather gonna be? Who's her father gonna be? And it's like she's just a junk trader's daughter, and it's like
Right.
the fans get pissed, but it's also like, oh,
Right,
well, we're
right,
not allowed
right.
to have new characters. Like everything has to be tied to something. But that's another discussion for another time.
So they decide that because all of them are like pretty magicless, I guess, that they need to use analog magic, which is essentially just like witchcraft and using, what their knowledge to their best. Once again, he tries to say his name again for the witches, and they're all like, "Oh, he's had a sigil placed on him." And we learn
Mm,
more about sigils later on in the episode, but it's a concealment spell that redacts information
yeah.
from the
At
witch who
first,
casts.
yeah, no, I was just say at first I thought this
Mhm.
was like an audience thing of like they were doing that for us, but then I realized like, oh no, they're seeing that too. That little thing. I thought
Yeah.
that was strictly like a we're not gonna tell the audience. Like it's for you to find out. Like
Oh.
Agatha's putting the spell on us, but then I realized I was like, oh no, everyone else is acknowledging that he's just like not able to say his name. So
No, yeah. We can't know anything about him seemingly because
no.
even back in episode 1, he tried to tell or episode 2, he tried to tell his like life story about where he came from and we couldn't get that information either.
Hmm.
So Shannon goes off on her own and she almost ends up sinking into the road because she steps off the road a little bit. The witches
Yeah.
have to save her and they're like, "Listen, rule number 1, you cannot go off on your own. You cannot step off the road."
Yeah.
And then a house appears in the distance, and they make their and at first, Sharon Davis is seeing this as like a sanctuary. She's like, "Oh, thank God, civilization." They walk up to this house. It has the phases of the moon on the door, and it's in the full moon phase, which is the water phase. And when they step in, they are magically transformed into different outfits and personas, seemingly.
Was this supposed to be like a riff off of like Desperate Housewives, or because like I feel like they did it a little bit with the Mayor of Easttown in episode 1. Like I'm wondering, and we
Yeah,
see a little bit of it in episode 4 as well. Like I'm wondering if they're trying to do the WandaVision thing, but it's a lot
yeah,
less distinct and precise. Like I was kind of wondering, I was like, is this just a fun visual gag, or are they trying to like? But I don't watch like Desperate Housewives. I don't watch Real Housewives, so I don't know if this was supposed to be that. But I feel like if it was Real Housewives, it would have been filmed in like a little bit of a trashier way. But I
a
couldn't
lot of
really tell what they were
people.
going for.
Yeah, a lot of people were speculating that it was kind of like a nod to Big Little Lies with Reese Witherspoon and
Oh, okay.
Laura Dern and
Yeah, I love
Meryl
that show.
Streep. That
Yeah,
show, because at one point, I think during the conversation, Sharon Davis does say something like, "Have you seen Huge Big Lies?" or something like she says like a
yeah.
fake
Oh,
name
okay.
of it, like a
Mm,
parody name of it.
okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's very like it's. I said they're dressed like white Mormons.
Okay.
Like white Mormon moms, and
Yeah.
it's giving like very like coastal house, like on the Hamptons, like very like
Yeah, I was
affluent,
getting
like
rich white moms, yeah.
cashmere. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
even Teen has a line where he says it's giving middle age second chance at love vibes, and I'm here for it. Which I wrote
Yeah.
down because I'd seen in an interview that Joe Locke said that it was impossible to say that line in American accent, and he messed it up so many times that he had to go back and like ADR it. because
Wow.
they just kept being like, no, again, and he did so many takes of that line that eventually they were just like,
Okay.
all right, like we're just gonna have to fix that in post, and then
Why
they
not
kept
just make
going
him?
with the scene.
Why did they just make him British? Like why didn't they let him just be British? That's what I don't understand.
Oh, maybe
Oh, maybe
because
he's Wanda's kid.
maybe maybe because
But she
he's
changed
a
her
character that has
accent.
to be American.
She changed her accent after Age of Ultron. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think it would have been fine. And then like at the end, just be like, oh yeah, I had a British accent spell cast on me. Like that's the easiest way to get out of it. This is a magical show. Just make it
Right,
magic that
right.
he has a British accent. Like I think that would have been because my biggest problem with Joel Locke, I think he's amazing, but his accent sucks, and I stand by that. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's
It's rough.
definitely
It's rough.
hard. And it's especially hard because I feel like he's as British, actors, they the more schooling that they have, I feel like the more they're able to really perfect an American accent because it just like makes them more versatile. And I just feel like because he started on a project so young and was able to use his natural accent for it, like
Mhm.
he definitely has to like catch up to all like the other great Brits that are, more experienced than him that have like great American accents. Like,
Mm.
Andrew Garfield's a great example.
Yes.
Um, you know, even Tom Holland does a great American accent
Yeah.
for Peter Parker.
Yeah. I agree.
So, just with time,
Food for
he'll
thought.
he'll
Yeah,
get there.
he'll get
I
there.
believe in
Yeah,
him.
he'll unlock that power.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So they stumble upon a card on the mantle that is a riddle, and they have to solve the riddle.
fun.
And the answer to the riddle ends up being wine. Um, and seemingly, there's a wine bottle appears before them with, as many glasses as there are witches, except for Teen, because Teen is underage. He cannot drink. So the trial begins when they all drink the wine. Sharon Davis, no hesitation, downs her glass because she has had a very hard day.
Yeah, she's a bull. She's
Then,
Nox.
yeah,
What?
what does that mean?
No, she's like she's an ox. She can down her drinks. You know,
Oh,
she's a
okay.
heavyweight. Yeah,
Got it.
yeah. No,
Love it.
she's a boss.
As soon as she does this, she a 30-minute countdown clock starts. So now they have 30 minutes to figure something out, and they realize that the wine that they've just drank is actually poison because Sharon Davis's face blows up like a balloon, like she is the
Yeah,
worst like filler and like plastic surgery known to man. She
which
looks
is a
like Miss
perfect
Piggy.
which is a perfect commentary for these types of shows about these white suburban coastal shore $1 million house moms.
Yeah,
The whole like
exactly.
plastic surgery bit. Yeah, I thought that was very clever. Yeah.
So I have to talk about the wine later. Don't let me forget. But before they can even open the wine, I'm sorry, we have to talk about the most important moment that happened in this
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
episode, which is that in order to open the wine, they need to find a corkscrew. So Jen, the potion witch, and Teen go off to a separate part of the house to look for one. And Jen is just gently trying to let Teen know that, don't really trust Agatha. Like
Did you
she'll
almost say
definitely
your
double
mom?
cross you. I don't think so, did I?
You're like, don't trust your mom. You're Agatha. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's what the show I
Um,
think wants us to
oops.
believe, but I don't know.
Right.
We'll talk about it.
I
Yeah.
hope that's a red herring. That was the theory
I
that I was alluding to earlier
I think Aubrey
on.
Plaza kind of made sure we knew that was not the case, but I think up till now,
Okay.
I could see how some people will be like, "Oh, that's her son," but they're making it too
Right.
obvious that her son's gone. Like, it would be too obvious.
I also think that her son is still that rabbit. So I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see.
right.
So she's like, careful around Agatha. You can't really trust her. And she's like, you want to know why you can't trust her? Because, she actually like traded her own child for the Book of the Damned. And he's like, oh my God, is that true? And she's like, well, that's what people say, but he could also just be dead. He could be an agent of Mephisto. Um,
What?
and then she says she wouldn't even be surprised if she didn't recognize him if he showed up on her own doorstep, which is exactly
Too
what
obvious.
Teen did
It's too
in
obvious.
episode 1.
It's got to be a red herring. We
Okay.
got to talk about it just because we talked about it like every episode when we first started this podcast. But like, we got the name
Right.
drop. We know he's coming at some point because Sacha Baron Cohen got cast as him, but like
Yeah.
I have to believe this was just a fuck you to us, like the fans, like who
Yeah.
just were like,
I hope so.
It's Mephisto, like I feel like they did this to like play with us, and they're not gonna do anything about it, and I hope that's what they do because I heard that I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me, but at the same time I was like, finally, but I'm also like, like I don't know. Let it
Yeah.
die. Let the
This
Mephisto theories die, and I feel like they're just conjuring up all that shit now.
yeah. I
But
feel
hey,
like
it was fun.
they kind of took all the best parts about WandaVision and I feel like made this show.
Mm.
Like you were saying before, Dale, how like the different styles of like TV shows that they were doing on WandaVision are now the different styles of like houses and trials that they're doing for this show. And, you know, bringing up Mephisto like very blatantly in this episode. Like, I just feel like they saw what worked with that one and they were like, okay, let's try to do that again.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's kind of working for me. Like
Yeah,
I
I
like
didn't mind. I
it.
rolled my eyes. I'm still rolling my
Yeah.
eyes about it, but I do
Yeah.
think it's like one of those things where if it ends up being nothing, I think that's the funniest outcome of it. It's just like name drop them, give the fans a little bit more to be like,
Right.
wait, and then just like just stop it,
Yeah.
cut it off.
And then go another 3 years without bringing
Yeah,
him up ever
I think
again.
that would be the funniest way to do this. If it ends up culminating in Mephisto, I think we're all just gonna be like, okay, but like it very well could. But I don't want to speculate on it because I don't think it's worth it given what we did
Yeah.
3 years ago with WandaVision, almost 4 years ago now. So it's gonna be 4 years in February. Like we're almost at the 4-way mark of this podcast, which is crazy. Crazy. 4-year mark.
Wow. We're going to have a 5-year anniversary. That's going to be so special. Okay.
Yeah.
Um
Aged. Age. I'm aged. I'm old. I hate it. My back.
So Sharon drinks 2 glasses of the wine. Meanwhile, Agatha doesn't drink any of her wine. And they realize that they can only move forward with the trial as if they all take part in drinking it. But instead, Agatha goes about it her own way. She instead of drinking her wine, she breaks a glass on the ground and then tries to break open a window in the house. She's like, "Screw this, like let's just get out of here." And I just feel like has never been down this road. Like,
Mm.
I think that she's lying about that. I don't
Mm.
think that she's ever been here a second in her life. I think that maybe
Mm.
she's read a lot about it or she's
Right.
heard a lot about it. But I really don't think that because she's not really following the rules. I get it. Like, she's very much like, oh, I'm looking out for me and only me. I'm not going to drink this obvious poison and, screw these other girls for like doing that, whatever. But I'm like, if you had done this before, you would know that there's like a clear formula you have to follow on the road in order to like move forward.
Yeah.
And she's just like, she's being very weird about and like sometimes they ask her questions and she's like, "Oh, and like make something up." I
Yeah.
just feel like she's,
No,
I
that's a
just
good
don't think
point.
I think that's going to be like one of the reveals later on is that she's going to be like, "I don't know because I've never been here." And they're all going to be like, we've been following you this whole time. What are you talking about?"
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good
And
point. That's a good point.
and so each trial down the road is going to be catered to a specific witch. In this case, it's Jen's trial to brew an anecdote for them to um, cure. That's the word I was looking for. Cure this poison. Meanwhile, Alice and Teen have their own little moment on the couch where we get a little glimpses into their backgrounds. He notices she has a tattoo on her arm, and he's like, "Oh, that's like a protection ward." And she's like, "Yeah, my mom made me get it when I was 13. She has this theory that all the women in our family are cursed, so she wanted to protect me." And Teen says, "Yeah, a lot happened to me when I was 13 too," which people are speculating that when he was 13, that's when all of the shenanigans of WandaVision happened. So there you go, Dale. Feeding into that theory of yours.
Give me the
Um,
money. Knew
so
it.
they need. Oh yeah, the poison is called Owl Wife's Revenge. And part of the poison, part of the side effects is hallucinating, loss of motor skills, and then like eventually death. So Sharon starts her hallucination first because she was the first person to drink, and she's having flashbacks of what happened to her in WandaVision, where her and her husband were having dinner, and her husband started choking, and she started begging Wanda to let him breathe. Patty LuPone keeps having these random visions where she just like starts like she says something random and then she snaps back into reality. So that just like keeps happening over and over again.
do we think that'll ever get resolved? Like, I was wondering if they'd
Yes.
ever like. You think it'll get resolved?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope there's
Okay.
some answers to what's been
I
happening to her.
I would love this also to be like a Mephisto thing where it just keeps happening and then they just never really address it. She just keeps doing it like it's just a
Maybe.
character thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Alice sees a hallucination of her mom. Jen sees a hallucination of the man who bound her, leaving her magicless. And Lilia, Patty LuPone's character, sees a corpse and like a woman in a black veil behind her, and she says, in Sicilin,
Okay.
Sicilin.
Okay.
Don't know how to say that, but it's I'm sure the language of Sicily.
Uh-huh.
She says she's dead, they're all dead, which is
Uh-huh.
crazy. I'm excited to like see a glimpse into like everyone's lives.
Yeah.
So they start brewing the potion all together, but the window that Agatha tried to break earlier starts cracking some more because they realize the house is now completely submerged underwater, and that not only are they beating the clock of beating the potion, but now they also have to get out of this house before the window breaks and the water comes rushing in and drowns them.
Yeah.
They're luckily able to all drink the potion and escape through the oven, to which Lilia says, I'm not getting in an oven. That happened to my friend once, and she ended up, and obviously she is referring to the witch in Hansel and Gretel, who dies
Oh,
via
I didn't get
oven.
that. I didn't get
Yeah.
that. Okay, that's clever. That's cool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because I was like, no one says anything in this show that's not purposeful. Like everything has like a little hidden meaning to
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
or like is a tease for something that we're gonna get later. So I just like I
Oh yeah.
pause and I write down and I look into every little thing, and I just love that.
Yeah.
And they all luckily get through the oven door before drowning, and they're like, great, we made it out safely, to which Teen replies, well, not all of us did. Sharon's dead, and unfortunately her body is very much
Yeah.
um laying
Poor
there
gal.
lifeless on the ground.
Yeah.
And I was kind of, and then it also ends with Agatha going, who is Sharon, and then credits, which was,
Yeah.
it's just like she's not a great person. You know what I
No,
mean?
she's very self-absorbed. She doesn't care about the others around her. But I think that's the point. I think that's the fun of it.
Yeah.
Is like, what do you do when you give the villain the spotlight as the protagonist?
Mm,
She's not our hero. She's our protagonist. There's a
right.
difference. What do you think of this though? Is Sharon's death? Are you sad? You just kind of whelmed by it, underwhelmed, overwhelmed?
I'm really sad, Dill, because I
Mhm.
kind of wanted, and I wrote this down earlier in the episode when I was first taking notes, because Teen early on in the episode says, they're like, oh, like, who is this woman anyway? Like, when Sharon Davis is like panicking about like where they are and what they're doing, they're like, who, this woman is clearly has like no magical ability whatsoever. Teen is
Mhm.
like, hey, everyone has the capability of being a witch. And I thought that's totally where we were going. I thought that she was going to like gain something within herself, or like unleash something within herself and like totally become a witch by
Kind of
the
like
end of
Ned,
this.
Ned, Ned in No Way Home with the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, similar
Hmm.
to that.
Yeah.
So, or I thought it was going to be like a whole reveal that like she always knew she was a witch, and then like I don't know, like had to keep it secret for some reason, and then
Yeah.
like ended up like saving the day at the end. So I'm
Hmm.
I'm really sad to like see her go, because again, like you were saying, we don't really have like a really strong comedic outlet anymore, and I guess that does now lie in Patty LuPone's hands, and which is great because she can absolutely carry that role,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I enjoyed seeing her, and I am very sad to see her go.
Yeah.
What did you think about it, Dill?
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of said it earlier. I think it's I was the comedic humor of her was kind of waning on me as the episode went on, but then when it's over, I'm
Mm,
like, oh, I'm gonna miss her. Like I think she did bring a lot of like that fun pizzazz to the second episode, especially. Like it was a little bit unexpected. Though I do think if they just made every episode the whole like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like I think if they kept it
mm,
one note, it wouldn't have worked. So I feel like they needed
sure.
to do that evolution, or this was the other better step for the character. So I think if they were just gonna keep it the same old joke every time, I'm kind of glad that they're leaving it behind. You know, it's fun for 2 episodes. Now we can move on. But I do think I like what you said too. Like I wish there was a way we could see at least some sort of arc and growth for her.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer, but she'll do fine. She'll probably I think she'll be back in some facet or capacity in some way.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like you said, there's always a capability of like bringing her back. Like maybe at the end, they're like, "Oh, this could save Sharon too," and then they like go
right.
back for her or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. Exactly.
Um, because no one's truly dead in the MCU for sure.
Never, never.
But yeah, I totally get your criticism of her, like, repeatedly needing to be educated. I just thought that that was a great, like, catalyst for the audience to, like, not only, like, learn for her, but, like, allow us to, like, learn the rules
Right.
and things and everything. And I also love that, like, they kind of made her, once they got to the house, like, she was very unabashedly like, all right, this is it now. Like, I'm drinking this wine. Like, let's do this. And so she kind of, like, almost was like the reason why the plot was moving as fast as it was because she had no understanding of like the stakes of the situation she was in. She was like, okay, well, there's freaking wine here, I'm gonna drink it. Like,
Right.
what are you guys all freaking out
Mhm.
about? Like, you know
Right.
what I mean? Like, I just
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
that that was like a fun character to play with. That's kind of just like, well, I have my cashmere sweater and my wine now, so like it's fine.
Yeah.
When they're
No.
all like, no, we're like in immense grave danger.
Yeah. Yeah. So episode 3, pretty good. Like I think it was fine. I think it
Yeah.
was not as strong as 2 or 4, but it was a good bridge. I think there was some
Okay, so
fun
you liked
hijinks.
episode 4 more than this one.
Oh yeah, no, I thought episode 4 was a banger. I loved it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because of the cover. We'll
Yeah.
get there. Are you ready to
Yeah.
get into episode 4?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Wait, hold on.
So,
Let me take a call real quick. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Someone's calling.
oh,
Hello? Sexual tension? Oh yeah,
oh,
you want to be part of the discussion? Yeah? Steamy sexual tension. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we're about to talk about you right now. Okay. Bye. All right.
Dill, I am like, it is crazy.
It's hot in here.
If
Yeah.
you told me like if you told me at the beginning of this year, back in January, go back to January 2024, May,
Okay.
and been like, you're going to get a new Marvel show where Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza are in love, I would literally be like, what? Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Like,
If you were to tell
how's that
me
going to work?
you were telling me a week ago you're gonna have a Disney project where people are kind of gay, I would have been like, no,
Oh,
Disney, the mouse,
no.
Mickey,
On
I don't
Disney
like
Plus?
that.
In the
It's
House of Mouse? No, no,
in my
no.
house. No
Yeah,
queer here.
I
Yeah,
I cannot believe that they're just like really like
they're going for it.
it's not unspoken anymore. Like it's real, it's in our
They're
faces, like
about to
it's
kiss.
canonical.
They're like leaning in, and then she's like, "He's not yours," and I'm like, "Ah!"
No,
But that,
yeah.
yeah, that's natural. Carly texted me a big long paragraph about how much she loves the eroticism and sexual tension between Aubrey Plaza
Yeah.
and Catherine Hahn. I was like, "Yep, I get it. I sign off." But there's more to the episode. There's more to the
Yeah.
episode. There's a full
Um
on rock cover of the song we already heard before, and it fucking bangs. It's so good.
no,
I loved
yeah.
it. I was jumping. Do you ever watch? Oh, what's his name on YouTube? He like reacts to like all the new pop albums. And he like has like glasses.
HG Hayes?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Like he'll
His
start like
name's
dancing.
Troy.
I think maybe. I'll find him. But yeah, I felt like him. I was just like in my seat dancing around. Um, let me see. His name is HG Hayes. Yes, him.
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah, I
love his
felt like
beard.
him. I felt like him watching this. Like I just
Mhm.
was like, I was like, ooh, and I started getting up and dancing, and I was loving that musical number. And like, was the rest of the episode good? Yeah, but like, was it great because of that musical number and the sexual tension between Aubrey Plaza and Catherine Hahn? That's kind of it. Yeah, I won't deny that, but it's what made it really enjoyable for me. So,
No,
yeah,
yeah, truly.
the cover was a banger. So.
So, episode 4, If I Can't Reach You, Let My Song Teach You. I also just
Mhm.
love that all the episodes are titled like of with the lyrics from the ballad. Um, I just love that.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
now that Sharon Davis is dead and she never really was a witch anyway, their coven is incomplete. So they need to um conjure
A
a
Greenwich.
new green witch for them.
Yeah. And again,
And
Alphaba is still off the table until November, whatever, until Wicked comes out, so,
exactly.
yeah.
Um, and Alice also reveals that she knows her mom didn't die on the road, but she was always curious about the road because her mom told her that the road would save her and break the curse on their family.
Mm.
Um, and so and we find out that Sharon didn't die because she didn't get 2 doses of the antidote because she had 2 glasses of wine. She should have received 2 glasses of the antidote. And lo and behold, the Green Witch that they summon for the rest of their journey is Aubrey Plaza, obviously. Um, she when she arrives, she does make a very obvious reference to follow the yellow brick road. She does the little like skip step down
Mhm.
um while they're continuing their journey. And this time a new house appears. It has a waxing moon on the front door, indicating that it's in the fire phase. And it's all 70s theme. There's shag carpeting, there's posters on the wall, there's a whole recording studio in this house. And they're all very much in their 70s
Yeah.
garb.
This felt like, that new Daisy Jones and the Six show, like, that's what I was getting from this. Like, I feel like they're pulling from very recent shows, like, I think they're pulling from, like, Mare of Easttown, Big Little Lies, Daisy Jones and the Six. I feel like it's all stuff from the 2020s, or
Still,
slightly
did you
before.
watch that show?
I did not, but I've heard good things. Is it good?
Oh, okay. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was good. I also read that book. It's a book
Okay,
um
cool. You, like,
as
freaked
well.
out, like, you were very excited.
No, because I was thinking that the entire time, but I
Okay.
wasn't going to say anything because I didn't know if you had seen that show or
Gotcha.
like
No, yeah,
heard about it
I
even.
mean, I've seen clips and the vibes are
Yeah.
definitely because it's like there's no other TV show I can think of that's like that. Like
No, yeah.
so I don't know. I think that was the logical parallel, but I don't know.
No. No, you're dead on. I was just shocked that you had heard about it. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know
Oh, of
why
course.
this is so shocking to me. Um,
I'm tapped in.
Also, we find out Aubrey Plaza's name. The name of her character is Rio.
Mm,
Um,
De Janeiro. Not really.
and so
Have you seen
oh yeah.
Rio, the bird movie with Jesse Eisenberg as the toucan?
Um, I
Or he's not a toucan,
I
right? He's a
s-
macaw.
I
I don't
s-
know. A
I think
parrot.
it's a macaw.
I don't
Um,
fucking know.
but I started it, but I think I fell asleep on it. And I think it
Okay.
was Rio 2 because only Rio 2 is on Disney Plus right now.
Interesting. I'm surprised you knew all that. Yeah, I've never seen them, so I was curious. Yeah, I was like, which sequels of Rio are streaming. That's impressive. I couldn't tell you.
Well, because I wanted to watch the first one, but only the second one's on there.
I
So I was
see.
like, all
I
right,
see.
I guess I'll just watch Rio 2 then, not knowing the events of Rio 1.
Well, I'm sure you missed a lot then because Rio One is eventful. I'm sure. I don't
Sometimes
know. I've
I
never
just need
seen
a
it.
silly, goofy movie to fall asleep to. That's
That's
it.
fine. You know what Goofy
And I
movie is on Disney Plus? Goofy movie.
the goofy movie.
It's fucking great.
Um, so Agatha and Rio have a moment alone together in the house while they're in the recording studio, and Agatha tricks her into revealing her true intentions for being on the road by pressing on a microphone that
Yeah.
amplifies her voice for the house to hear. And she says, her plan is to kill Agatha and the rest of the witches and get the bodies she needs to, carry out whatever her objective is for later on.
Yeah.
And so now she knows, now all the other witches know to kind of be really hesitant and apprehensive around her. Um, Teen finds a record that says play me on the packaging and plays it, but it plays backwards, which curses them.
Mhm.
And then um, Patty LuPone gets attacked by seeming an invisible force that leaves some burns on her. And Alice is then drawing circles around her, and Jen also gets attacked and puts a protection spell on them that protects them for the meantime. But they realize that they need to break the curse by playing the ballad of Lorna Woo's version of the Ballad of the Witch's Road.
Mhm.
And she said something really interesting. We got a lot of, backstory on what, Alice's life was like and what it, her mom Lorna was like. And she reveals that she played the song so much because she was always trying to open the road, and that her singing it with her fans, like her fans were her coven, and every time they sang it, she would try to open the road,
Yeah, it's really
which I
cool.
thought was like really, really cool.
Mhm.
Um, and so Teen also gets attacked in this house, which we didn't see in the last one. He's thrown through the window in the recording studio, um, which comes in later.
Mhm.
And so while singing the song, they break out into this rock ballad. They're able to break the curse because Alice just shreds on piano, finishes the song,
It
and the
it
curse
is
that we
fantastic.
see,
Yeah.
yeah, we actually do see it in Alice's point of view, is this giant like winged demon.
Yeah,
There's fire everywhere, there's smoke.
it's kinda like
Um
the insidious devil with wings. You know, is
yeah,
how I look
yeah.
at it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And w- so then everything started making so much sense to me because when after they first played the song, Alice looked at all of them and said, "Does anyone feel lighter?" Because to me that signified that that devil thing was always on her shoulders all the
Yeah.
time.
Mm.
And after the song played, it left. And then it went to Patty LaPone and cursed her. And then it went to Jen and cursed her. And then it like flew away like as they started playing the song. I just thought that that was so interesting that like she was like, "Does anyone feel lighter?" And then we see like what was weighing down on her whole life was this demon curse that her mom was
Mm.
always trying to break and get rid of.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so after they finish the song, Teen is like, "Great, we did it." He collapses because this entire time he's had a shard of glass punctured in his side. Um, and they need to save him. So Jen is able to save him by doing a spell over some water. She pours it over his wound and it's able to heal him. And while
Mhm.
he's resting, the other witches like kind of have a powwow over a fire pit. They're, talking about their past and um, just having this great bonding moment.
Yeah.
And while they're having their little bonding moment, Agatha's having her bonding moment with Teen. And he asks her point blank, he's like, "Did you place the sigil on me?" And she's like, "Honestly, I don't know, because the way sigils work is that it also makes the person who cast the sigil forget that they did it. So it's just
Mm.
a retraction of information for both parties."
So how do you get rid of the sigil then? Does the person have to,
So
like yeah.
she said the sigil can only be destroyed when it's no longer needed,
Like,
whatever
what
that
does that
means.
mean? Okay, that's what I was asking. I
No,
was like, what does that mean? I know
no,
what you
I don't
said,
know,
like,
Dels.
okay, so I don't know what needed be okay.
I guess when the other people around him are ready to like, I guess maybe when it's like when he's ready to like reveal who he truly is, or maybe when they're ready to know who he is, that's when
Mhm.
that's when he'll be able to tell them something along those lines, I
Hmm,
guess.
okay, interesting. Alright.
Um, and then he asks her, he's like, "What happened to your son?" And that's when he crossed the line because Agatha's like, "Nope, I'm not answering this question." And then just
Got a blast,
gets,
yeah.
yeah, I'm out. Gets up and leaves, joins the circle. And they're like, "Agatha, like, why didn't you tell us about one of your battle scars? Like, what's, tell us, give us a little anecdote." And she says, she reveals a scar in her elbow and she says, "Knitting needle. Have you ever heard of the Daughters of Liberty?" They respond, "No." And she's like, "Exactly, because I killed them all."
Mm,
And the Daughters of Liberty were a group of people, historically from back in the 13 colonies, and they were a group started to oppose British rule. But they're also a group from the Marvel comics. Thank you for asking, Dill.
yep.
And
Tell us about it.
some, some of the members of the Daughters of Liberty are members that we know very well. Echo,
Mm,
Mockingbird, which is,
Katniss.
no, she's Mockingjay.
Oh.
Mockingbird is Laura Barton, who we learned from
Oh,
the
yeah,
Hawkeye
that's right, that's
series.
right, that's right, that's right.
Sharon
Hawk
Carter.
bird, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
and Black Widow. And even at some point in the comics, Agatha taught this group magic. So
Mm.
this is a wink, wink, nod, nudge, nudge to that. And Rio takes it upon herself to also reveal a scar that she has. To which Agatha replies, "You don't have a scar," because
How
she
does she know?
knows
She's
her
seen her naked.
body.
Yeah. Oh, we ship
Oh,
it.
what a tasty little snack. Okay.
Mm.
So she's like, "No, yes, I do." And she reveals an emotional scar that she has because she
Ooh.
had to hurt someone that she loved and she
Mm.
really didn't want to. And
Getting juicy.
obviously, this is alluding to Agatha. They go off, have their own separate moment apart from the group where a kiss is almost exchanged. There is
Mm.
almost lip to lip
Many
contact
kisses
for sure.
probably would have been exchanged. Yes.
But Rio breaks the moment and says, "Hey, that boy isn't yours."
Like, why ruin the moment? Like wait. Or like also I don't understand. Like I get it. There's that unspoken chemistry, but it's like it
Mhm.
just felt a little weird that they were immediately just like, all right, let's make out. Like I don't feel like there was ever anything that initiated them kind of getting closer again. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But it could just be that thing of like it's irresistible to them. I would have
Mhm.
liked a little bit
Mhm.
more of like a like let's talk first and then like it rises to an emotional climax where you can then embrace. But it
Yeah.
just felt like they walked out in the woods and then just like started. I was like, oh, okay. Um,
Well, I feel like they kind of had this moment where, Agatha walks away, Rio follows her and is like, "Hey, like I'm kind of here for you." Like she kind of starts like, like touching her back and like her shoulders. And it just felt like, oh, I just can't like you said, like resist this anymore. Like this
right.
is
I feel like it would be the other way around though. Like Rio's the one saying like I have this emotional scar. I feel like it would be Rio
mm,
leaving and then Agatha being like, listen, I'm sorry. But it felt
well,
like yeah, I don't know.
yeah. And I just feel like by Rio revealing that with the group, like it was kind of almost her way of like apologizing. And
Hmm.
so upon hearing Rio say, like, "I really didn't want to do what I did. And what I did to you and how I hurt you has literally like wounded me
Right, so
emotionally.
it's
And I've
her
been,
own doing for her emotional scar, not
yeah,
Agatha's doing. Okay, that makes sense.
yeah,
So she still had to feel like she was consoling Agatha. Yeah, okay, that makes some
yeah,
more sense now. Yeah.
yeah,
So I was like, if she's the one with the scar, shouldn't Agatha be the one comforting her? But yeah, no, either way, this was a good moment. Like I was definitely like
yeah,
leaning in. I was like, oh shit, are they gonna go there?
yeah.
Obviously the mouse says no. No. But I do think, I mean I assume we'll get it at some point, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know now. I
I
don't know.
mean, they can't tease us like this forever.
I mean, yeah. I mean, this would just be a bold swing. I mean, two same sex couple kissing, naked. Catherine Hahn was naked in one episode. So like
Mhm.
they're taking bold swings. They are. They
Yeah.
really are. The horror is more horrific than anything we've seen so far. So, I appreciate it though. I like the bold swings, and that's kind of where we end the episode, right, Kels? There's nothing much else after, right?
And yes, all that happens after is Agatha says, "Well, let's like we have to keep moving or something
Mm,
because now the tension is gone, the moment's been broken, the
yeah.
spell has been lifted. I we need to keep going." But I want to talk about Rio for a second
Let's
because
do it.
I am suspicious of her
Okay.
because we you go, "Okay."
No, no. I'm just like, all right. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
No, it's funny. Because they do this whole first trial and it all feels very like, okay, we're all on the same team, we're all gonna work together, we're gonna figure out this potion. We know we have to drink this wine and do this in order to like succeed, and but we're all gonna do it together. And Aubrey Plaza, arrives for the second trial, and she's just like, like she's just like very like cavalier about everything, and she's like, okay, well, what happens next? And feels like this is what we're gonna have to do, and like she's just like being very like mischievous and
Mm,
not super helpful for the group. So it just feels like she's playing kind of against them because I
mhm.
guess she all she really needs is their bodies for something anyway. So I guess if they die, it's like, it would just speed up the whole process for her. So it could just be something like that. Like she doesn't really care if they live or die. so that she can just like have
Yeah.
their bodies, I
I will
guess.
say, for someone who's disinterested, though, she was rocking on those drums. She was
Right.
crushing. She was. I mean, the drums are the backbone. That keeps you on tempo. That was something.
No,
Um.
that's
So so when
that's
she has to
certainly
commit, she
true.
does. She certainly does. Can we just talk about the number real quick too? Like, did you have anything else on Rio?
Yes, I wanted to
Okay.
go back and
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about the wine from
Mhm.
episode 1
Okay.
because I mean
Gotcha.
episode 3 because I was trying so desperately to read what was written on that bottle because we had a wine with a big Easter egg on it from WandaVision and I just
Right.
assumed they were doing the same thing here and it was called Reina Rioja. And at first with the addition of the word Rioja, I was like, "Oh, Rio." And I thought that like the wine was like totally like her doing. It turns out that's just like a kind of grape that's made out of wine. So I
I
was
mean, it could have been
wrong.
a grape they chose because of the name.
Right, that's true. That's thank you, Dill.
It's
Thank
like,
you for
if we have a grape that pairs well with their character name, we might as well. It'd be like if there
right,
was like a Kelsey grape.
yeah, exactly. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for validating my
Mhm.
theory.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But also, I want to talk about this moment with Teen where he gets thrown through the window because it just felt very not what was not how the curse was operating. Like it was
Mm.
very specific, like he was landing on people's shoulders. I'm just assuming the demon was a boy because all demons are boys. Um, he was
Not all
landing on
boys
the
are demons,
shoulders.
but all demons are boys. But some boys are demons. There you
Yes.
go. Yeah.
And leaving these burn marks on them and cursing them that way. And then all of a sudden, he's just like thrown through a window. And
Mm.
I just felt like maybe that wasn't the curse. And maybe that was Rio.
Ah. Ooh.
I think she was trying to hurt him for some reason.
Mm.
And maybe if like he died, she would just be like, ah, that curse. Damn that curse. Why?
Yeah, maybe it's
You know what
because
I mean?
Agatha has more attention on him than she does her, and that's why she says it at the end too. She's like, "He's not yours," because like, stop paying. It's
Mm.
not, no, no, he's not important. I'm yours. Notice
Yeah.
me, pick me, choose me. Yeah,
Ah,
we're
she's
getting.
being a pick me.
I can't wait for the. Okay, so back to this musical number real quick.
Go ahead.
I love how they put this spin on a song we already knew. It was a banger version. I
Mhm.
loved Patty LaPone on the little like triangle or whatever. Do we think we're gonna get
Yeah.
like a cover per mission, or what are they called? Trial? Like, do we think we're gonna get
Trials?
Patty LaPone's episode and it's gonna be like a play on Smash and Broadway, and we're gonna get like a Broadway ballad
Ooh.
version of it? Like,
I mean,
if
that
that
would
happens, I am going to say this is my favorite Marvel series. Like, I will. Like, it is like,
yeah.
we're building to that point where I'm like, what else can they do? Or is this like a one-off, like, this is gonna be the music one, and like, oh, we already know the song, let's put a spin on it? Or is it gonna be like we're gonna hear this cover like 2 or 3 more times? Because we've already done the one trial though. So it was like, okay, we've
Mhm.
already done that. So she doesn't get a song. But I'm wondering, Patty LaPone, it would make so much sense, especially if you're doing the TV thing or Glee, like something where it's like they're doing
Could
like,
you imagine? They walk into the next house and it's like classroom from Glee.
oh my god, they get slushied or
Something's
whatever.
written on the whiteboard, like the theme of the week. Like
Yeah, it's
theme
like
of the week,
witches.
this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I do think like naturally that'd be such a cool building point. I really, that's all my dream, is that we get like Patty LaPone Broadway number version of this song. Even though the original was kind of that a little bit, but I want her to
I
take the spotlight. I do.
yeah.
I'm waiting for it.
No, for sure, me too. Like she's definitely in the background like too much during these musical moments when really she should be front and center. Like love Catherine Hahn, she's killing it, but it's like you have Patty LaPone there, like
Yeah,
utilize her.
greatest actress on Broadway ever. Yeah. So
I think that it might be too repetitive if they try to incorporate the song every single episode moving forward. I definitely could see at least one more cover of it in our future.
okay. So who else needs a trial now? So we've done 2 of them, right?
So we've done the potions and we've done the protector. Now we need to do Lilia, who's the divination witch. Um, Aubrey Plaza's trial, the Green Witch, and Catherine Hahn's trial, which is I don't know what kind of witch she is because they
Okay.
all kind of have their own shtick, and I don't
Right,
know
right.
what Catherine
Okay.
Hahn's thing is. You know what I mean?
Cool. So naturally, Patty's is gonna be next episode, probably.
Probably.
We'll find out then. I'm
So
very
we'll
excited.
find out.
Very exciting. And then we'll be talking about it next week. We get to just talk about one episode next week. It'll be chill. It'll be easy.
Yes.
It'll be simple, easy peasy. Kels, anything else on this episode? Did you like this one more, or did you still like episode 3 more?
It's tough. It's not that I don't know. It's tough because I'm enjoying them all so
I am
much for
too.
different reasons.
Yeah, I ever since the first episode, which I was like very like on, like the rest of them have just been killing it. Like I've been really enjoying this. I think it's also because it understands the tone. It wants to be episodic. I like the idea that each episode's kind of focused
Yes.
around a different witch's trial. The first
Yeah.
episode is kind of the backstory. The second episode is the inciting incident. Third episode is the potions, and this one is the protector. Like I really like how each episode has a distinct thing it's doing, and it's not just like, all right, we're gonna end the story here and pick it up here on the next week. It's like, no, this is this chapter, which I think is the biggest plus for any TV series, is make it feel episodic. That's why it's TV, it's not a film. So big fan. I'm liking it a lot so far. So
Yeah.
anything
Me
else?
too.
Yeah,
No, that's it for me.
cool.
You can find me on.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I was like, I'll let
No,
Kelsey do the
you're
outro, but
good.
I didn't.
I
I
was
didn't
like, I'll
overtly
just.
say. All right, take
I'll
us
go
out.
into the plugs
Take us out, Kelsey. You know
seamlessly.
my plugs are down there or in the comments or in the description. So Kelsey, you plug us and then like give us our outro.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Kelsey A. Kilpatrick, TikTok. Watch the 31 Frights of Halloween at Kelsey A. Kilp. My letterbox is the exact same thing at Kelsey A. Kilp. And you can find us here next week on Marvel-ous Movie Mondays talking about Agatha All Along, episode number 5. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Love you.